have found our way. It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are. And like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and dreamers. We are restless.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail of Gaia, and this is Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas, and sometimes we're lucky if we get online at all. I'm so happy to be here, and it took us about a half an hour to find out an audio issue, but we're back, and I'm here with White Fox, and we're going to talk about standing in your power and breaking free from the matrix. And he has in the background, and we will show this for a couple seconds when I bring him on, a painting, and I would like and have him explain it, what he is portraying in that picture. So let me bring him on. Hi, White Fox.
Hey, Gail. Hello, everyone. Thank you.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad we finally got things working.
Always seems like they want to give setbacks when we try to put out some really good content.
Yeah, I swear. And you know what? I was told that they are cutting the views that I have on shows in half. And they do that so people don't, they think, oh, that must not be very good, so they don't watch it, And my shows are about content, not about, perfection in video quality, because this is not my background. But anyway, about the picture in the background, and I think it can be seen. Maybe I should take us off for just a minute, okay?
Feel free.
All right. Let's. I'd just like to say that's your first painting, and
The picture seems to be
it's skewed a little bit.
It's actually my second painting, but regardless, other than the being's head being cut off in the image from stretching, there's a mini copy of it for my logo today. This is actually my second painting I've ever done, inspired by visions and dreams I've had. This one has been plaguing me off and on for about 2 years, and I finally got the urge to put it on canvas. The being itself represents the light body, or the being itself, the soul. And the radiant colors coming off of it hardly do justice to my visions, but it's what I could do. But they represent the colors of the rainbow flowing off of the being like in an auric field. In the background, we have a room that's a checkerboard, for those who know what that means. Basically, that would be the control matrix, and the being just burst clean out of it by growing into itself. You could see the broken pieces of the checkerboard room around it.
Yes, I knew that right away. I when I saw the checkerboard and the box, and it's breaking apart, and it's like breaking free and standing in your power.
That's exactly what I named the painting as well, as breaking free. And standing in your power is what's required in order for you to break free, because this system isn't going to let you go easy. It's here to keep you and feed off of you.
Yeah, and sometimes people break away and they fall right back in. Well, you have some ideas to help people be able to do this, so why don't you share that with the audience, if you don't mind. And hi, Susie Q. Susie Q's in the
Mhm.
audience. And
Hey,
Jill
Susie.
and Victor and Susan and everyone else. Jill.
It's good to see everybody here.
Yes, it sure
Um,
is.
well, as far as standing in your power, there's a lot of elements to it. The one in which I was guided to contact you to do this show was about standing in and using that power that you have within you. It crossed my mind recently in the last couple of weeks. There's been a lot of tornadoes and excessive storms in this part of the country. I'm in Kentucky, if anyone's wondering. Um, a lot of that I've been watching them chemtrail, and I've been watching them have the ripples and frequencies flowing through the sky like a river.
Yeah.
Well, when they were sending some harsh storms my way, me and my girlfriend took ourselves and we focused on dissipating or mitigating the storm. And the large band that was going to come across us, according to radar, vanished completely in about an hour. This was on last Friday night. For anyone who wants to look at the radar, I know there's long.
Well, when have we ever had that many tornadoes all at once either? I mean, that was pretty.
4 day stretch, it was reported there were 426 or so tornadoes that popped off between Texas and the northern part of the storm north of Kentucky. That was excessive.
Wow.
And I'm pretty sure that it was not natural storms because it literally felt like being microwaved in between the gusts of wind. Plus, I could literally see in the breaks of the clouds planes flying over, dropping fresh clouds.
Yeah. Well, I do believe we're getting microwaved quite extensively. And I don't, if you think about it, you know how a microwave works. It works from the inside out. And this is why
Yeah,
people get so dehydrated
it
because,
resonates. The way a microwave works is the frequency in which is emitted resonates at the molecular level, cooking your food from from the molecule up. They excite the molecules in order to create heat in a microwave. If you're too close or you're being microwaved, that happens within you. The heat will feel very unnatural from my own experiences. But the point behind my mention of that was because I wanted to give people some knowledge about it. Not, I can't tell you exactly what equipment they're using. We all know that HARP is a part of the process, and we know that the chemtrails are too.
Mhm.
Well, the way the situation works, if you look at the original HARP facilities documents, they tell you that they're emitting high frequencies directly into the ionosphere and the stratosphere. They're literally broadcasting it just like a radio station into the upper atmosphere to force the weather in their way. The chemtrails give them something they can actually manipulate other than just the clouds. It allows their frequencies to take a better hold while they're controlling it. And they use multiple towers. They're actually global, not just the facility in Alaska.
Mhm.
But in the mechanics of it, they're literally broadcasting like a radio station. They have to use a technology to do this, and it takes thousands and thousands of kilowatts. But individually, on the flip side, as I stated, me and my girlfriend took some time and we focused our energy into mitigating it, meaning we put off our own frequency in a very similar way to a radio station broadcasting. We all do this every day and don't even know it. If you can focus that energy and you put your pure intent behind it, you can actually affect the weather. This has been being done for thousands of years. Most people think it's a myth, but yet our own governments are using this technology to do the same damn thing. There is no reason that we, standing in our own power, can't do that. And we don't need technology because we are the living technology
We're organic technology, aren't we?
and more advanced than anything else on the planet at this time.
Well, since we've been lied to about so many things, we don't realize, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we have the makings or DNA, so to speak, from Pleiadians, Syrians, Andromedans, um,
From
and
my
many
research,
and
sorry to
many
interrupt,
other.
but
Okay, go
from
ahead.
my research that I found, reading through many ancient texts and other documents I could find throughout time, um, I have found that there are many cultures that allude to creation of humanity, obviously,
Yes.
but they speak of it as humans' original purpose when Earth was still a 5D planet or a heavenly paradise. We were created as vessels for angelic beings, the original inhabitants of this plane, or this planet, not this plane, because this planet has transitioned downward in the plane. That's the falls they talk about. We are those angelic beings, some of us. All of our souls are angelic, regardless of what position we play in the great game that this thing is. But in its hijacking, they've twisted the stories and hidden the truth, which is why they exterminated natives, the druids, and a great many others who were the gatekeepers of this knowledge. But humanity's original purpose was a vessel for souls to come here and experience this whole creation known as the Living Library Project. That project included 12, it's rumored up to 36 different species came together to create the human vessel, donating DNA. And yes, that
36?
includes reptilians up to.
Did you say
I haven't got a
36?
definitive number, but I have seen definitively more than once that it was over 12. And I've
Oh, yeah.
heard from some of my connections it was well over 36 different species. The
Wow.
body form type was taken from the Lyran people.
The most I had heard was 22, but who
I
knows?
found some documents in the astral plane that said there were 36, and there was a council of 4 who presided over them in the oversoul level. However,
Wow.
that's just one document, and it was in the astral, so I kind of, until I have something to verify, it's just what I've found. I'm not swearing to it to be the truth, but it gives me an idea. There's a lot more there than what we've been told.
Well, yeah, and that's one of the things about everything that we try to do and say out here. We're getting information from both sides of the fence, and it's getting very difficult to discern where it's coming from, whether it's the white hats or the black hats, or I don't know, in between hats. That's where it really comes in handy to be an observer and not get too involved in it, because
Well, when you
it's
realize, when you realize that 99% of your life is beyond your control, the only thing you're in control of is your own choices and your own actions.
but
Anything
they always
outside
say
of
we
you,
create our own
all you can do
reality.
is observe. We do, but we don't play every single role. Other parts of us do. Or, well, from one perspective, they're all other parts of ourselves. God is the best and most extensive in multiple personality disorder, let me tell you. Each one of us is one of God's personalities at the highest level. Down here, we're in a game of duality where for every one thing that exists, say the left wing and the right wing, you're going to have the opposite as a counterbalance. That's what duality means. You've got both sides of the fence. You have to either play within the game of duality by picking a side, or you can look to try to transcend the duality by acknowledging both sides exist within yourself and coming to a balance, which is one of the lessons of the ascension path as well. Finding that balance within yourself so that you can stand firmly in your own power. Because as long as you're playing in the duality, you're working towards something, you're doing something, you're putting your energy somewhere. And in most cases, it's not because you want to, it's because this world tells you you have to. You have to pick a side. You have to pay your taxes. Those are all forms of stealing your energy in one form
You
or
have
another.
to get a shot.
Energy can't.
Yeah.
Well, by your own divine authority, when you're standing in your power, you don't have to do anything they say. But you have to truly be standing in your power to reach the level to where taxes can't touch you as long as you're in a physical body. Or you're hiding on a desert island somewhere that we haven't discovered yet. Unfortunately, that's part of the game we're in. However, it is true we are coming to the end of this particular civilization or reality, and we're moving on into another. The Age of Aquarius was a time marker. The Mayan calendar even talked about this. We're literally in a time period where we are shifting, and in the middle of any shift, everything has to be moved. Everything's being chaotic. You can either get caught up in the chaos and the fear and keep feeding them by being in fear, or you can take a look at what you can do that would benefit yourself and others. And don't buy into the BS. You literally got to decide where you stand and put your foot down firm and stand in your power. The power comes from within you, from creation through your chakras. If you want the mechanics of it, we can do that.
Yeah, no, a lot of people are feeling really tired of what's going on. The narrative, the changes, the politics, the bizarre behavior of some people, crazy people that don't know they're crazy, but acting crazy. And a lot of people don't know what to make of it, and why is it happening? And
They want us in this state of confusion so that we're not in a position to be able to move forward. They're keeping us stirred up in fear mode about a collapse, about a war, about something, a virus, whatever. But their whole purpose is to keep us in a state of reacting so that we're not acting from our own power. We're actually just reacting to what they've done. Some point we have to take the bull by the horns and actually take the choice and start acting instead of reacting. When we start standing in our power, that causes them to be on the back foot and have to react to what we're
and
doing.
they become afraid of us at that point, because once we stand together, they lose a lot of power.
Oh, yeah. Individually, we're not that powerful. However, when you're awake and standing in your power, one person can have the energetic influence on reality to the equivalent of 100 or more for just one of us being awake. It's said that we were strategically placed around the world to these odd places that we all are distantly, because we all hold a frequency and a light. Well, we all hold a power too, and it's up to us to stand in and turn on that power and shine our light. Whether it be helping someone with groceries or just simply meditating and holding the peace for your area, using your energy to resist against something you feel isn't right.
Exactly. Well, New York's got a question for you.
Actually, I do, New York. I do see the 5D in our future for those who choose it. And I say that because it is actually a choice. This is not forced upon us. We can easily continue on as we were. A lot of people aren't feeling what's going on because they're not waking up. So their spirit is saying, no, no thanks. We'll just skip those light codes this time. Well, our souls are going, yes, bring it here. I want to leave.
Hurry up, I want it now.
Yeah, but if you ask for it that way, it'll be like 1 tequila, 2 tequila, 3 tequila, 4.
I'm just totally being facetious.
Because the energy can knock you off your feet if you're really tuned in and feeling it. If you stay grounded, you can mitigate it, but you want to be able to feel it so that you know how much more real it is. Because everything in this reality around you is telling you it's not real, with the exception of some out there. I think it's literally like 1% of the world's population is looking into this. But we don't even need a full percentage of the population if we're still 7-something billion people, which those were the numbers in 2020. How many people have disappeared since then that they're not reporting or talking about?
Oh my God.
I don't think the population is as big as they think.
You know, one of the things I've noticed,
or at least want us to think.
And all the different channels out there is, it's, they say, boom, breaking, immersion, just all these really sensational.
Yeah, it's trigger words and clickbait.
Yeah. And it's like,
It's to get your
and then some of
attention.
them I listened to part of it, and they didn't have anything to say that hasn't already been said, 100 times already. And
Well, yeah, it's just to get your attention. That's the
yeah,
problem. Back in early 2000s, Facebook did a study on the public and ended up getting in trouble for it, where they were literally using those kind of phrases, words, and things in ads on Facebook to get people to click on it. And they were giving them dopamine hits with those things. So the more you see something like that, the more the dopamine hit gets you, and it keeps you on a quickly changing your mind so you're not able to focus and you're caught up in their programming.
yeah, that's the big thing, is to start recognizing that programming and removing it.
Yeah.
So
Usually it starts with the feeling of that just doesn't feel right. The more you lean into your intuition on anything you hear, the more you're going to start to be able to feel the body and the inner voice talking to you, telling you, yeah, that's right, or no, it's not. Because no matter how good it sounds to your ears, your intuition and your body resonate with the truth. And if what's said is not true or is only partially true, the feeling will either be weaker or non existent. Or you'll get a bad feeling, which will tell you the opposite. For each of us, it's going to be unique, but you literally have to lean into it and trust it in order to actually get a clearer and more defined discernment. Everyone tells you to use discernment, but nobody tells you
yeah,
how.
that's a good point right there. And
I'm trying to tell you how.
just like everybody tells you to do your own research, and I know there's a lot of people out there that don't know how to research things, or where to go to get the kinds of
Well, they
answers.
stopped teaching it when I was a kid.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I mean. And there's so many things that they tell people, you got to do the work or you ain't going to make it, and then they never define, well, what is the work? What are you talking about? Um,
That's the thing there. Everyone tells you need to do this, but nobody tells you why or how. That's part of why I've been doing this for years, including with my Telegram group. Every week I have a meeting and we discuss these very things. We talk about our inner work, things we're going through, even if it's not something new to someone. Those kind of experiences give a sense of camaraderie and you don't feel so alone in the world. Plus, you know you're not crazy because these people are also having these kinds of experiences. That's the purpose of my group, is to also offer support for those who are on the path of waking up. Not to wake up new people, because if they're going to wake up, it's not going to come from anything we do. It's going to come from that spark within themselves, just like it did for us. All of us. Somebody else might have said something as a puppet from our soul, but our soul is the one who told them it's time, this person needs to wake up. Let's get him going.
Well, that's interesting. Teresa made a comment about a professor from Berkeley back in the 90s talked about the dopamine to reward students after tasks and molded them accordingly and not for the good. Well, that's not good.
Exactly. And really, it's not the technology that's bad. It's the people using it in their purpose.
Yeah.
Granted, nobody should be trying to control anyone else if we all honor each other's free will, at least to the point of not causing harm to someone else.
Right.
Sadly, is there are a lot of cultures that are programmed and taught to cause harm.
Well, it's just really amazing how our education system has been infiltrated, and things that are being said and done are not American. I'm sorry. Um, it's really sad to see it happen and people not work. Just like everybody says democracy, we do not want a democracy. We want a republic, preferably a constitutional republic. But everybody's saying
A democracy is mob rule.
exactly.
The Democrats keep saying their democracy, meaning they're the ones who control the mob. That's the thing they don't explain.
Exactly.
We are a democratic republic, meaning multiple of us vote for the people who are going to represent us, and that they have the say. That's the way it's supposed to work, not the way it actually works. And it's a good system if it weren't corrupt. But that system has been so infiltrated even as far back as the 1850s.
Very true. Carissa said it. What is that loud? There's a loud sound in the background every once in a while. Right there. I don't know what that was, but it's kind of loud. Anyway, Teresa said not human nature as well. The way, I mean, humans are angelic, just like you said, at their very core, at the very spark. It's, are you still there?
Oh, yes, okay. I'm here. I was letting you talk.
Okay, let me, I gotta.
It's that very spark you mentioned that actually is your soul. That is the smallest part of you that can fit inside you, because your soul is so much bigger than you that it's not funny. That's why beings from higher dimensions are larger than we are, because they're connected to more of themselves at all levels.
Okay. Someone, New York says he's awake, but his wife passing on still makes him so sad that it lowers his frequency. There are things that we're constantly exposed to. I believe that we're set up to intentionally lower our frequency. And
well, the system's designed to pull our frequency down in every direction we can go, including technology. That makes us dependent and more into that, which is more of a control system. It's useful tech, but at the same time, at what cost? As far as the thoughts of your passing of your wife, first, my condolences. Second, she's not really gone. She's probably walking around the background watching you, trying to get you to pay attention. Knowing that you're sad is good. It shows that you loved her. But instead of being sad, to raise your vibe back up, instead switch to gratitude. Be grateful for the time you had. Start going over in your own mind the memories that you had that were so wonderful. And the bliss and joy will flood back to you rather than you being sad. Our memories all hold, and the reason they become memories is they have to do with an emotional attachment. That emotion is stored in the memory. When you rethink of a memory, you can reconstitute that same emotion and overlay it on yourself. Meaning, when you think of happy memories, it brings you joy. When you think of bad things, it brings you angst, anxiety, anger, and a whole lot more, which are lower vibes. Anger is not necessarily a lower vibe. It's more of a medium level or about the mid-range. What determines whether it's higher vibe or lower vibe is how you use that anger. Because emotion is energy in motion, and you're meant to express it. So if it makes you sad, it's okay.
Well, I've heard people...
But you can always turn it around in positive ways.
I've heard people say that you can't get angry. You shouldn't be angry. There's no anger in 5D. What would you say to that?
That's not true. That's not true.
Thank you.
Anger is a natural emotion, and it can be expressed in a loving way, or it can be expressed in a very lower dimensional way, depending on if you let the anger control you, or if you take and recognize it as the emotional energy. And instead of getting angry and hitting someone or breaking something, you redirect that energy into something positive. I used to do that when I worked on cars. I would get mad about the car and instead put the energy in my wrench and break loose a bolt. It didn't destroy anything, but it got the job done. I used the energy to enhance myself instead of to be controlled by the energy. Emotions, you've got to learn to be able to be emotionally mature, which means that your emotions don't rule you. Your emotions are something that serve you. Even if it's an emotion come up out of your control, at that moment, you have the choice on how to express that emotion. Once you learn to channel those emotions into another direction, if they're not good. If they are good, by all means, let them flow. But if you block them, you stop them or suppress them, especially anger. Anger creates the worst blockages in your energy body, in your chakra network. And it causes you not to be able to stand fully in your power. Part of doing the inner work is clearing those blockages, both from the past and the present. It also includes going over all the programming and re-looking at everything you know and questioning it and reevaluating it. And if it no longer fits, you can easily throw it in the recycling bin if you want. But you first got to look at it seriously. Even if that's just time to contemplate, or if you want to sit and chat with a friend, that is how you do those parts of the inner work. And that helps you not to be controlled by the emotion.
Teresa wanted to share with New York what she found facing emotions head on and moving through, not avoiding or suppressing. You get growth, realization, etc. And she's mastered the grieving and amazing what comes when you get past. So she's saying, okay, utilizing the emotions appropriately and they serve you. Um, I hope that helps, New York. That's just really, I can understand your feelings. And maybe you can refocus some. Uh,
That's exactly what I was just saying about the emotions, using them to serve you or to
Exactly.
serve your cause.
Exactly.
Just like using your energy, you can use it to serve your cause, even if your cause is stopping a tornado or creating one, but I don't recommend that.
Well, I have to say, New York, I feel your pain. I had my grandmother, who was my main advocate person for me in my family. She died when I was like 14, and the exact same thing happened to her. She just wasted away. It's a horrible thing to have to see. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sorry. But anyway, like I think it's good to think of her. Her true, real self is still there, and she's watching you and saying, "Come on, get out of that. Stop it. Stop it. Stop being sad. We need you to be happy." I bet she's there saying that to you in the background.
Well, that would actually cause emotional blockages too. If you're forcing an emotion against another emotion, it can create disharmony within your own chakras too. I don't recommend anything that suggests that.
That's what?
And I'll tell you, anyone who has passed away in the last 10 years is still around. They haven't left. They're just not in a body. We were quarantined right around 2012, so souls couldn't leave the planet, partially to trap the dark here, because we're all going to go through the shift whether we're in the body or not.
So
Being in the body, though, allows you to ascend. Being out of the body, you'll just reincarnate to another level if you've achieved that. We're here for the ascension. That's why it's important to take care of yourself. But they're still around. You can still talk to them and they can hear you. You just got to learn to listen to so that you can hear, sense, and feel them.
oh my goodness. And now he has his only child has cancer as well. So you're getting hit hard, New York.
I hate to say it, but the vaccines have been proven in the last year by doctors around the world to be causing these cancers. And a lot of the foods in the US, the chemicals they put in it are also cancer-causing agents.
Yeah, stuff that's banned in Europe. It's okay. Give it to the Americans. They'll eat anything.
We're programmed to believe it.
We sure are. That's sad.
My condolences on the cancer, though. Depending on the type of cancer, there are quite a variety of natural herbs that can slow it down or even put it in full remission. If you can get a hold of the right frequency, you can actually destroy the cancer with frequencies of sound. That was done as early as back in the 60s, but I think it was classified after that or held for national security. You know, the bullshit to hide stuff.
There's cures for
But
cancer.
there are still military documents about it. Well, yeah.
But you won't find them in traditional medicine.
I saw something that said in 1913 they passed a law or something to do with the National Cancer Institute was all a part
Yes.
of being banned from actually curing cancer. They're only supposed to study it, not
Well,
actually
that's
cure it.
because they want customers. That's
And chemo's
and
nothing but them using mustard gas
and your
on you.
oncologists get a percentage of every single chemo regimen you go through. They get a significant percentage, just like pediatricians get a percentage when they're the children that they care for are fully vaxxed. So those kinds of incentives do not belong in any profession because it's just horrific.
It is. My condolences, New York. Yes, you do have to be very careful with some of the natural or alternative remedies because there's a bunch out there that are not fully true either. So you really got to be careful.
Wow.
But growing up around the medical field in the 90s, I remember reading one of my mom's medical studies.
That sound is very
that
loud,
blatantly
whatever it
talks
is.
about-
I'm sorry. It's coming from your end.
I don't hear it. I'm sorry.
I don't know where it's coming from. Is it coming from you? Must be. I don't know.
I don't hear
No,
it
it's gone
anymore.
now.
My apologies for the sound.
That's okay.
Now I lost my train of thought.
So did I. He's got chemo made her worse.
I have ADHD.
Well, I got
My
ADD,
apologies.
so.
So you can add? All right.
Yeah, I can add. Sometimes, yeah. But I have to write it down. Okay. The thing about chemo, they have, it comes back with a
Oh, thank
vengeance.
you.
It doesn't just poison the cancer, it poisons the person too.
That reminded me of
Okay,
where
good.
I was. Chemo is literally mustard gas filtered through and injected in most cases, though they do have other forms of using it. It is proven it might kill the cancer in remission, but it also kills all the cells around it too. That weakens the immune system, destroying it, so you catch any cold and it could be your death. Or also within a 5-year range, that same study said that the cancer will be back, period, and with a vengeance, because the radiation actually causes it.
Yeah, so many things that they've done makes things worse because they want customers. It's chemo is definitely just exactly what you said, New York. Really was helpful. Oh, Teresa, you went through that too. Oh my God. He created hospice, has an excellent book, Dr. Lerma, that is real helpful. Really was helpful with my son's transition. So Teresa's been through it, New York. It's wow.
That's what they said got my mom 2 years after in 2022. After she got the vaccine, 6 weeks later, they claimed it was cancer. But the x-ray showed something really weird. But anyway.
Wow.
She passed away after telling me she wasn't going to take it. They had also had her on medications for causing her to have dementia, and she ended up getting it and passing.
Okay, we're getting advised to say something happy, so we got to get back to happy because now we're kind of
okay.
dwelling in the sadness.
How about we give the middle finger to our system by standing in our power?
They're doing anything and everything they can to keep our vibration down so that they think they can make us not ascend, but I don't.
Well, here's the funny thing about what we were just talking about. No matter how much of this negative crap and how many millions of humans they've killed off over the years, no matter how many of those, guess what? We're like ants. We're still here. And we're resilient and adaptive. That's why they got to keep coming up with new ways to come at us.
Energizer
we're constantly over adapting.
We take a licking and keep on ticking.
That's right. Better than a Timex.
And well.
But when you finally realize you're the one who holds the power of creation within you, and you start channeling that by focusing, I could give you a million different examples. You can easily take, if the wind is blowing too hard, you could actually focus asking the wind to calm down, and it actually will in most cases. In the case of a storm, you can either decide to put your energy up to protect yourself, or you can decide to use your energy to mitigate the entire storm and protect everyone.
How would you do
That's
that?
entirely
How would you do that? How, when you say
how.
use your energy,
Okay.
just to clarify for people so they know, because otherwise that sounds
It's
kind
a
of like,
really,
oh yeah, right. How
it
do I do
sounds
that?
really woo woo, but it's actually really simple. Fact one, where your thoughts go, your energy flows. So where you put your focus, the energy is flowing to it regardless. Now, whether you believe that you can actually do this or not can be the difference whether you can or you can't. Because if you believe you can't, doesn't matter how much you try, you're not gonna, because it's your belief. You have to believe that it is possible first. The example of technology doing it is HARP, for example, with the storms, creating it or using frequencies. Well, every thought you have, based on the emotion attached to it, will tune the frequency of those thoughts. If your intent is to mitigate a storm, focus on the storm. Visualize whatever method works for you. You can visualize a shield, you can visualize it just dissipating. I mean, the more you visualize, the more you put into the thought, the more energy you're putting into what you're doing. The thought is the first energy. The second energy is your focus and your intent combined. If your intent is pure and there's a good reason behind it, basically, if your higher self agrees with it, it will put in extra energy beyond what you physically can carry. You will start to make effects the more you believe in it. Doubt is one of the few things that can disharmonize or destroy, just like in a manifestation. If you start doubting what you're manifesting, you lose it. Same thing when you're doing what I like to call magic, which actually is energy manipulation. Our government's been studying it for years. That's how they built their technology. But we ourselves are the technology. We have the chakra network, which our power source comes directly from source. We have the focal point, which is our spirit and our mind, which allows us to manipulate the energy. Your higher mind is what allows you to manipulate the more direct conscious energy, including elemental energies. Like if you're going to call the breeze, you have to understand that all the elements are a part of you. When you resonate to that part of yourself that resonates to the element in which you're trying to influence, then you sync up with that element by focusing on that resonance. And then you can actually talk directly to the element. Just like tuning your radio to communicate with the different parts of reality, which are all just parts of you.
We're all connected.
To actually use it, your hand chakras, you will feel energy in the palms of your hands. Those are your actual 3D interfaces of the energy. One will be receptive and allow you to pull in information and energy. The other will allow you to project it outward. It does take a little practice, and the more you play with it, the stronger it gets, just like any other muscle in the body. When you can project this energy by where you focus, you give it your intent on what you want it to do. Doesn't matter if it's changing a red light, influencing the lottery if you wanted to try it. I know somebody who did. He won $50. Anyway, that was years ago. He thought I was joking about this, but he did actually win 50 on a scratch off right after I told him that. Anyway, the more you focus on it, regardless of what it is, and the more open you are to the reality of the energy. I mean, everything in this reality is made of energy. What controls the energy is consciousness. And when you are tapped into your own higher consciousness, you can then start to influence these energies. Technology being used by HARP simply does the same process, but it does it through limited forms, starting with electricity to create their frequencies. and they use technology to direct it, and they have to throw up chemtrails to help guide it or to smear it or whatever to increase their influence. But for us to increase our influence, it just takes more of us. If we had three of us
You're starting to break up for some reason.
focused on blocking a hurricane, block it, we could.
Yeah.
Maharishi
I know
effect
somebody who worked,
is where
a
people
friend that I have here.
together at different locations around the different size crowds, and they would. Scientifically, they found that when they did that, things globally by 5% after 1 hour of a large group. That's why mass meditations work. That's us all focused together to create an outcome. Individually, we do still have this power. And one of us using our power in this way, standing firm, or the more you connect with yourself, the stronger and the more broad your influence can become.
You know, it's
eventually you'll be able to feel halfway around the world while sitting in your living room. They don't want you to focus. That's why you're flipping from one thing to another, to another, to another, so you don't focus on anything for long enough to manifest anything. And as the world grows into a higher frequency, manifestation's starting to happen a lot faster than it used to.
with the right focus and the right heart. It's amazing what we can do, and helping
It
each
really
other
is.
as well.
And it's simple that anyone can actually do it, as long as their own beliefs aren't blocking them. That would include any programming from society that tells you that magic's not real. Magic is science not yet understood, but it is actually understood. Our militaries around the world have been studying it for more than 50 years. And that's actually coming out to the public too.
Okay, well, Beauty was saying that it says he's glitching while he's talking, and we're getting every other word. It did that for a little bit, but I don't think it's doing it now. Is it still doing it now to you out there in the audience? Let us know. Half and half. Is that what 5 by 5 means?
No, that means all good.
Oh, all good. Oh, I didn't know that. Where does that
Yeah.
come from? Is that
Means
military?
good to go or all good. It's used by the military. I was in the
I was
military.
just going to say, is that a military thing? Yeah, I've never been in the military,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't know. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for that. I just got educated. All right.
Well, that is why I'm here. And this isn't stuff you go to a university and learn it in a library. You might better find something in their library, but this is the kind of stuff you find in obscure bookstores, huge libraries with locked areas. It's because they don't want you to have this information. They've spent eons hiding it because they're scared of us if we're in our power.
Right.
If we're not, then they're keeping us down and controlling us. Most of the ones doing this are 4-dimensional beings, even if they're wearing a 3-dimensional meat suit. That's what a lot of the underling controllers are. If you're standing in your power, you're easily mid-range 4D or up in frequency. You can look at the dimensions like the keys on a piano. 13 notes, and that includes the transitional note, is 1 octave. 1 dimension is 1 octave. They have different levels based on frequency, or the decimal point behind the frequency.
Interesting.
It's like tuning a radio station.
All right, and as Mary was saying, talking about how the media has always been trying to keep people in fear. But if we focus on positive outcomes, then the world might change for the better. It will change for the better.
It will.
If more people do that. And that's what we have to encourage. And that's part of your job. That's part of your duty as a light worker, as someone who's awake, is to put out those positive vibes, shine your light, be a beacon of light. Um, those are the kinds of things that'll make this whole thing flip, and it can flip so much faster than we think if everybody, the more people we can get to do that.
If 5% of the planet stood up right now and decided that the elites are done, didn't matter what anyone says, reality would make it happen, because 5% of the population is more than enough to tell the game straight up, no, we don't want that here.
Yeah.
Because it only took 5% of the population to bring the dark here during our second fall around the time of Atlantis anyway. That's it. 5% screwed us all.
That's amazing when you think about it. Well, there was just something here's another example of something where something could be done. People need to stand together on some of these things to stop some of the things that are happening that are absolutely against any kind of freedom. There's a story I read today that I'll share with you that happened in Massachusetts. There was a family, they had 5 children. They're 9-month-old. They decided they were not going to vaccinate. They would not do that. And so the state came in and put the parents in jail and took away all the kids, all because one child didn't follow that schedule that is life-changing and
it's a forced
unneeded.
stipulation on you for being a kid in this country.
Yes.
At this time.
And it's absolutely wrong, and people just have to keep saying, be willing to. Well, it's scary because when you know, like what I know happens to children when they go through CPS, it's not a pretty picture. So
CPS has been used for child trafficking for a really long time.
Very long. And once you find out what some of the
and they target poor families that can't afford to fight back.
Exactly. And that's one of the things I despise about the judicial system. It's set up that way. It's absolutely heartless. And it's not just this lawfare just doesn't apply to these high dollar politicians as much as I do like Trump and what he's showing and everything. He can go to court, pay his fine, have a whole team of lawyers there. What can the average person do? Use the public pretender, and that's all it is a pretender, because he's paid by the same, and the court comes before you do. People don't know that, but that's something that needs to be taught and learned as well.
I think that system is going to be going away anyway.
Well, I hope so.
There's a whole lot of things that are going to change in the future. Some of it may take a while, but some of it's going to be pretty abrupt when it happens.
The faster, the better, I think, especially for some of that stuff, because that creates a lot of pain and suffering, breaks families up, financially devastates them. It does all kinds of very negative things.
True, but I don't want to focus on what they do, only for the fact that the longer you focus on them, the more you're giving them your energy.
Oh, okay.
It is true to know the facts about what was going on. That way we can change it. But to dwell on it is only to feed it. What you resist persists.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and I would agree with you,
Teresa. If people aren't aware of it, how's anything going to change?
That's why I said they need to know about it. And I agree. I agree with Teresa as well. She says, I feel they can no longer derail me. I'm on autopilot. I can relate to that feeling, because there are times I find myself on autopilot and I'm just doing things. No thought, just natural flow. And you are all right. They can't derail you as long as you continue to walk your own unique path following your guidance. As long as you're walking your divine path, the dark can't touch you. But if you slip off the path by doing something shady, then there's a good chance that the dark will then be able to reach you. But as long as you stay true to your path, no matter what that path is. Only you are going to know your path as it unfolds. Your higher self does too, but it doesn't like to share. Not with outsiders. I've tried asking a few.
I don't know if you know about this or not, but I didn't know anything about it being overturned, the Chevron doctrine.
I haven't heard that, but I did hear it was being re-examined about 2 weeks ago. But I don't know what the outcome was of that.
Right.
It
Well, I
is
don't want
appropriate to navigate carefully, because we're in a land that's shifting, changing, and everything's out to get us if you want to be the victim. But if you want to be standing in your power, you're going to view it more as an obstacle course and a challenge.
Okay.
That's two different paradigms, of that of the victim or that of standing in your power. Because if you're being a victim, you can't stand in your power.
Well, isn't that a program?
Yeah. Being a victim is a program they put heavily on us.
Yeah.
That's why they have the whole cops show on TV and etc. It's all part of the promotional, on the surface, to promote the cops and following the law. On the underside, it's showing you what the law can do to you and will do to you if they feel you're the target.
Yeah, that is.
Notice I said target, not criminal.
That's definitely programming right there. Yeah.
Well, TV itself,
That's
when
why
it came out, had 54 patents for mind control when it was being put out to the public.
Unbelievable.
So, yeah, it's programming. That's why they tell you they're called TV programs. They're programming you.
Yeah.
That's why I like cartoons.
Exactly.
You can't take a cartoon serious.
Oh my God, yeah.
But there's also a lot of truth hidden in plain sight. They tell us what they're doing all the time, but they do it in a way that we think it's just a movie, or it's just fiction, or that can't be real. Half the stuff
yeah.
they're showing you in sci-fi movies is stuff they've actually been able to do for a long time.
Yes, I heard that there was I don't know, it was a colonel or a general that came out and said, whatever they do on Star Trek, we can do and have done. So,
yeah, I've heard
there's
that
so much
too.
they've kept from us. So much they've kept from us. And anything that might empower us has been kept from us.
They treat us like mushrooms. They keep us in the dark and feed us BS.
Oh, let me see, what's this? Is Teresa saying something else here? Psychopath traits to play the victim and blame. That's what they conditioned their minions to do. The same. Yeah. You're the victim, and you blame somebody else for whatever it is that you're a victim of. Oh my God.
Well, I figured out a long time ago when I was a kid that in this life you're either acting or reacting. And I didn't want to be the one reacting to everyone else. So I don't mind being loud and making a scene.
Nah.
Nothing else. I like to play the court jester. The one guy could make fun of the king without losing his head.
Marco says he loves his show against people are right on. The people here we have a lot of healers and light workers in our audience. I love that. That's awesome.
I like to claim more to be of a neutral. I don't pick a side because I'm trying to transcend duality. But at the same time, I'm also here as light worker support. That's why.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So we don't want to really be called light workers. What would we call ourselves?
No. Light worker is more of a neutrality statement. It means you're working the light. And if you're shining from your inside, you're being your best self, and you're using your power, you're standing at any of these things, you're shining a light. Because in the 4D, each person looks like a torch. When they run into one of us, they found stadium lights. It's really that much of a difference in the auric field and in the energy around us. It's in who you are. Light worker is just a term or a name. Some people choose the term chosen one. All these different things represent Well, they make you sound like you're different or higher than everyone else when you're really
Yeah,
not.
exactly. I
The
just
only
don't like
difference
that.
is you've grown to a spot that habit. Hold on, please.
Holy smokes. Sounds like a cat. Knock something down. Cats
It
are so
was
funny.
2 cats.
Oh,
Just decided to
okay.
start fighting at the food bowl.
Okay. That's funny. They made it
I hear that
noise.
that's going to be changing as we shift too. Animals will become more friendly and more at home and less aggressive. I've also heard that mosquitoes won't be there.
What are the
Parasite.
chances of their talking to us? I think that would be really cool.
Well, technically, they already do. You ever sat and stared into your pet's eyes and made that soul connection?
Oh
After
yeah.
you do, you'll notice that you get subtle hints, energies, or feelings that come from your pet that let you know what's going on with the pet. Once you made that soul connection with the animal will communicate with you. It's just, are you open to receive the communication? And do you know what you're listening for? After you connect with your dog, say, stare your dog in the eyes for a few minutes, if it allows it. If it doesn't, it's scared of you and you won't be able to make the connection. But if it will stare you in the eyes for a second, do that and start sending out loving thoughts and watch your pet react. When they do, you've completed that connection between you and that animal. You can do the same thing with crystals as well, but that's a little different process. I've been studying processes of energy coming from people, coming from devices, a lot of things for a lot of years. I even played with frequencies through CB repair. And I learned quite a lot on how to fine tune my energy, but I discovered I could use it without knowing what it was when I was a kid, before they told me that's just your imagination. Yeah, well, my imagination has moved that glass of water off the table before.
Oh wow. That's
Yeah.
I put this up about New York. I put my cats fly up in the air. I have just seen some I've seen some videos, comedy videos about different cats doing different stuff, dogs too. And you know what? If you want to raise your vibration, look for those videos because they'll make you laugh. And
I'll give you one for a practice to play with your energy and your animals. Did you know cats are more 4-dimensional than 3-dimensional and can actually see energy? If you sit here and make a ball of energy in your hands and you roll it on the floor by your cat will react unless it's asleep.
well, I heard that your dogs are your physical protectors and your cats are your spiritual protectors. I don't know.
I've
Um,
heard that as well. I've always been told that cats and dogs actually share the same soul group. One's just the male or the 3D expression. The other is more of the high-end 3D, 4D expression.
Well, cats are certainly much more aloof than dogs. Dogs are much closer companion in a lot of ways. Well, not necessarily, but more so than cats.
Cats are more
Um,
independent. Dogs are more your best friend in shadow.
yeah, exactly. That's what I was trying to say. Thank you. Okay. Um,
I know I've made my cats run down the hall because I put a little ball and made it chase them down the hall. My girlfriend actually witnessed a couple spirits as orbs playing with the cat 6 months ago in my living room.
I wonder what that's all about. He said, Glenn says, feed your cats some cut up olives and stand back.
Oh my
Why?
God.
What happens? Why? Why? Tell me.
Green or black olives is the question.
Okay,
Green
tell me.
olives will make the cat go nuts. It's like giving them catnip times 2. But the
Huh,
black olives, they won't touch. If
that's
you can
funny,
get
huh?
one to eat it, it's because it was cooked with pepperoni. Then they will eat it. And that puts them more sleepy from what I've seen.
New
I've
York says,
always believed in giving my animals the same food I eat. If I'm not willing to eat it, I'm not giving it to my animal. So my dog, or until he passed of 20 years, last year. I gave him chicken and everything else, just like I did. And he lived 20 years, never saw a vet. Real healthy dog up until he passed away. I don't necessarily trust what they do to a lot of dog foods when I see a lot of recalls on that stuff all the time.
Yeah, I know. I'm afraid to feed my dog food, to tell you the truth. And they do the same thing to the animals that they do to people, give them shots they don't really need.
Well, of course. A
Yeah.
vet told me that the shot that they give a 200-pound Rottweiler is the same exact dosage that they
Make
give
it-
a Chihuahua.
Yeah, what kind of sanity? I mean,
That's insane.
how can a veterinary that's been trained for what 8 years or so, similar to an MD, actually they've been programmed, is what it really boils down to.
Well, yeah, indoctrination.
Yes, so much so that they just do it without even thinking. I mean, I've said that before. They gave the same shot for a bull mastiff or for what are those really super big dogs? I can't think of it right now.
Bull
but I can
mastiffs
see.
are some of the bigger ones.
They're big, but there's another one that's even Saint Bernard. Saint
Yeah,
Bernard. They get the
Bernard.
same shot to a Chihuahua as a Saint Bernard. Now, what? Oh my God, what kind of thinking is that? So it's not thinking at all. Anyway, the other thing that Teresa said here is about cats in energy work. They see spirits. Yes, I've also heard
Yes,
that
they do.
if there's a spirit that might be bothering you or something, they might lay on you and purr
They will sit on
to
you and
protect
protect.
you.
When a cat purrs, it actually, and I've witnessed this, one of my natural gifts is I can see energy. I can actually see spirits and energy with my physical eyes. And I have watched my cat start purring and watched an energetic, like a little barrier or sensors kind of thing, just flow around them in their aura when they start purring. And when they stop, it goes back down into their aura like it wasn't there. It's really cool to watch.
Yeah, I love cats and dogs equally. They both have something to offer humanity, um, in so many ways.
Well, they do.
Um,
They give us an opportunity to express the love of our very being. They love us unconditionally. Well, cats, they're picky, but that's another topic. But they are still here to express
yeah,
love. But nonetheless, they give us an opportunity to be good stewards and caretakers of them while they're here. And that's supposed to be helping us to be more nurturing towards not just the cats, but the environment, the
yeah,
planet, each other.
yeah. So we got our farmers' dog food, and they are full of energy. Rabies shots are getting worse too. There is no rabies. That's ridiculous. That they're forcing the shot. And I have a friend who takes her dog and the dog is like a psychotic now. But she would take it to get a rabies shot every couple of years, and I'm going, oh my God, it's a Chihuahua. Oh my
To
God.
me, it sounds like the same model they do with a flu shot. Every person who gets a flu shot has flu symptoms after getting the shot.
Yeah.
It's
And
like
now
the
they're
shot is to give you the flu.
exactly. Well, that's what all those shots were. I swear, in one way or
Does that
another,
mean an
they
AIDS
give you
shot
the
gives
very
you
thing that
AIDS?
they say that they're supposed to help you with, and it's especially now. Maybe there was. I don't know if there was even any degree of good intent at one time. I kind of really
I
question that.
think the young doctors, before they got into it, actually had a good intent, at least the majority of them. But over time of indoctrination and all the stresses and other things they're put through, it's no wonder that they just go the best way they're told, because that's how they're programmed.
Well, if you just think of that word that little phrase they use all the time, and it's never been tested. Safe and effective, safe and effective, safe and effective. No, it's not. It's never even been tested. And then never have they ever tested not just one at a time, but a whole combination of them at the same time. Or, against someone that doesn't get any. I guess the Amish are the best example of how much healthier you might be if you don't do that. Um, it's just the plan is.
I understand the frustration with what went on. It still appalls me. not just the fact of everyone who fell for it, but for the bullshit that they pushed in so hard using a system they had built up to where we rely on authority to tell us what's real instead of our own senses. Where we have to buy what they say because we're programmed to, they're the authority. Well, what made them the authority? They don't get the power of authority just
The
because they got a
TV.
piece of paper. They get their power of authority from us following them.
Propaganda and the TV, the different shows, the doctor shows, the cop shows, all of them are programming people into the
It
mindset
is.
that the cabal wants.
And truth
But
be
it's not
told,
working
a
so well
virus
anymore.
isn't even a real thing. There are studies that have proved that there's no such
Poison.
thing as a virus. It's
And
a
virus
parasite.
means poison.
A
And that's
virus is a
exact-
dead entity by definition. So how does a virus attach to you if it's already dead? It can't grab you. That doesn't make sense.
It says flu season starts when kids go back to school as the shots and shedding too. Very true. Yep. And they won't let your kid in school if they haven't had the shot. I don't think they push the flu as much as they used to, as they do the
Again,
other
this
ones.
is where Again,
But
this is where we need to stand in our power and not buy into their crap and think for ourselves.
And more parents need to stand together and say, no, I ain't doing it. No.
There are actually laws called parental rights that supersede anything a school would have to say.
Well, have
Now,
you
a
ever thought
doctor,
of
that's iffy by certain laws, but your school forcing you to? When I was a kid, I was forced by the school system to go see a psychologist because they found out I could see things they couldn't.
Well, you know what? You know how they use wordplay against us in so many different ways. If you think about
yeah.
what does it mean to be a parent? You're a pair and you rent your kids. Think about that one.
That's a twisted way, but you're right. One of the most
You-
people say that magic isn't
That's how they
real.
can take them away from you so easily.
People say
Yeah.
that magic isn't real, but yet it's used every single day by everyone, basically. Your words, when you speak, you are spelling, you are casting spells with your words. That is true. Even if you're in a back alley somewhere just talking smack about somebody, did you know that you're actually energetically attacking whoever you're focused on with your negative comments? Every thought you have broadcasts into the collective. When you have a negative thought about someone, it's like throwing an energetic dart at them from wherever you are. Do you realize that? If I didn't see the energy flowing off the people, I wouldn't believe that one because it sounds pretty far-fetched. But energetically, it's not. At the quantum level, there is no time and space. Everything is right here, right now.
Yeah. It's just like they said, this is something people are beginning to realize too. Our words have been used against us. Because they create spells.
Lawyers use words and twist the definitions in the legal system, which are totally different than the definitions used by normal society. And it's taught that way on purpose so that you can become a victim of the system. It's another control system.
Yeah, that's a bad system. Yeah.
But that's designed that way. That's the sad part, is we don't realize just how much the system is actually designed to work against us. We're the only species on the planet that actually has to pay to live where we were born.
Yeah.
That's more of our natural right. By natural law, we shouldn't have to. All this is man-made imposed laws. The only laws that truly count are the laws of creation, the natural laws. The rest of them are all dictated to us by paper, by man.
I have to let my puppy dog in. Hang on a second.
What is lust? Lust is an influenced emotion towards the act of sex. Lust is the desire and want, and is something that is whispered into us from a source outside of ourselves. there's a large program going on the planet right now where they're influencing lust to keep people in their lower three chakras instead of rising above it and completing building their chakras.
Oh, you're talking about this one?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I was distracted for a minute there, letting the
That's
the
quite
dog
all right.
pawing on my door. Okay.
You get temptations every day in many forms about many things. Lust isn't only about sex. You could lust after a car. You could lust after an energy. That's coveting what someone else has instead of manifesting your own. It's an influence that treats you into jealousy and other negative energies. And it's usually a suggestion, not from your own ego, even though it sounds like it, but actually whispered in your ear by something in the higher realm, in the 4D. The lower 4D is where the demons are. The upper 4D is where most of humanity is when we sleep. In our dream world, it's part of the same astral plane.
This is a comment.
Go ahead.
Marco was saying you can do anything as long as you do it in the box that they provide.
Well, yeah, that's the problem. And that's why the painting, the truth about the painting in the background is it came to me in a vision. The being did. And I was trying to capture, using glow-in-the-dark colors, the etherealness of the radiance of colorful energy flowing off of this being. And I was shown this in a void space in my own vision. I added the checkerboard background in the middle of painting because I was on autopilot and it just came through. And to me, it says that we're breaking free from the control matrix. The checkerboard is a common pattern used by the Freemasons and is in many sources used as part of the representation of duality and control. Yes, the solar flash is coming. I've had about 35 dreams the last 3 months about it.
Really? Wow.
Nothing definitive to give me a time frame, just a constant, here it comes. Or here it comes.
Interesting.
Or, hey, here it is. You know, just randomly, I'm doing different things, different places in each dream. But nonetheless, the continuation is the bright flash of energy. It's like a quantum reset, according to my higher self, because I've spent a lot of time meditating on that dream.
Yeah, I've electromagnetic flash.
It's like a quantum
Have
reset.
you heard anything about crystals coming out of the ground?
A couple of people that I keep up with who are also tuning into their gifts have had visions of crystals just uprooting and coming up through highways all over the planet. When I meditated on it, I woke up a couple hours later after having the most vivid dream of walking through a desert region, and all of a sudden this mountain shoots up out the ground and it's amethyst, the whole thing. Like one giant amethyst just shot straight up out the ground through the highway and was just standing there like, well, kind of like a dandelion does through cracks in the concrete. And I got the vibe this was happening all over the planet immediately following the shift or the flash. It's part of the Earth's movement, supposedly the Crystal Kingdom coming up to assist with it. Because I asked one of my crystals just for shits and giggles, and it actually showed me a similar image, but from the crystal's perspective. So that was kind of weird, but fun.
Interesting. Sandy, it's good that you're explaining. Was wondering about the checkerboard, White Fox. That's the first thing she saw.
It represents the duality. It's commonly used by Freemasons, and they also use it in many movies as part of the MK Ultra programming that they've been employing. That's one of the tools that they use to help enforce it, the checkerboard or checkered floor, the black and white. In this case, it represents a control box or the matrix around us. I presume that the being was me in the dream, or in the vision, but I don't know for certain. I just know I was seeing this being. But it's breaking free. That's why there's broken pieces of the tile floating around in a void. And the being's energy is just radiating through it. It represents us going through the shift and breaking free of this control matrix. At least that's what I get from it. And that's the second painting I've ever done. The first one, about a month before that, was a glowing portal.
You have to show me that one.
Okay, I'll send it to you, Gail, and let you put it up if you like.
Okay. One of the things that Sandy's mentioning here, and I think it's important too, one of the things they're motivating people to fight against each other instead of coming together as humanity, because they're scared to death of us coming together. That's what it really boils down to. If people only knew how powerful we become when we come together and stand as one. It's, it's like when you think about all the divine sparks within us, within everyone, standing together, we're all one light. Then, I mean, and that's got to be huge and bright, and talk about shining the light in the darkness. To light up the entire place.
Oh yeah, so, absolutely. If you could see it from my perspective, it's already so bright. I wish I could make some special sunglasses, but just walking around, there are even some people who seem like they're asleep, just NPCs, just walking down the street. Their aura will be like a raging fire. It's really amazing to see how these energy pulses interact with all these CMEs coming in and such. When the energy hits the planet, for me, it literally looks like it's raining rainbow colors. I can see it interact with people's auras, with the plants.
Yes, I'm.
It's just a sight to behold. I wish I could describe it better.
I wish I could see it.
No, you don't.
Oh, really?
I mean, you do. It's at awe. But at the same token, I also see in the other spectrum just as much. I can see when someone truly is dark or something other than human hiding in a meat suit. I can tell when someone is lying to me because their aura will change colors. Because you can't control your aura unless you actually take the process seriously and connect with it and learn to control it. Which by the time you do, you'll realize it's pointless to do anyway.
Yeah, I think that's probably where I saw it the first time. Christian 21 was saying about the crystals popping up out of the ground on the ley lines. And it's all related to the flash that's coming in too.
I don't know who Christian 21 is, but at the same token, the people that have had the visions of it and the ones I was shown, they sound exactly like what you've described.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, well, Christian 21's on Telegram. He's on Telegram, and he puts out some interesting stuff. He really does.
I'll like have to check him out.
Yeah, I like his site. Let me see. Somebody's asking you a question. White Fox, if I heard you correctly, that you're on Telegram. Thank you. I appreciate you. You want to tell her your
yes.
Address
my Telegram group is called Some Pudwhacker Spreading Truth and Love. All one word, all lowercase.
Let me see if I can get that link.
If not, after the show's over, I'll go back in the comments and post a link. Because if I do it right now, then it'll disappear with the live comments when we close the show.
Okay. Here's something these channels. Let's see. Channel mute. Well, I thought I would have the. I'm trying to get the link, but it's not showing me what exactly it is. I don't know why. Oh shoot.
We're just a small obscure group at the moment, but it's an open community. Everyone's treated as an equal, and I encourage participation and sharing. Whether it be some truth you discovered or something you went through yourself, it's welcome. And I'm the only moderator. There is nobody else to push anything, and I'm a neutral. I'm not going to pick a side. I'm just going to accept you for the soul you are.
There's one link. That one's for the Christian 21. I'm going to get the Pudwhacker one.
Go for it. Who would ever take some pudwhacker very seriously?
More people than you know.
Apparently. That was a persona I created on Google when I was going through my divorce.
Okay, what the heck here? Let me see what your. I'm trying to get your link and I'm not seeing it for some reason. It says view group information, and usually that's where I would find your link, but I'm not seeing it. So, if you could put, if you know
That's
what
a
it
good
is, and
question, Jay.
you want to put it in the private chat, I can put it in a chat where everybody will see it if you want.
I can't access that other thing at the moment or it'll mess up my internet.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't
That's
know
why I
why
said I'd go back afterwards.
it doesn't show like it does on the other ones for some reason.
Jay
Maybe I'm
Thought
not.
has a really good question.
Okay, let me get back to the show there. I can't find what I was looking for anyway, so let me take this off. And J Thought, did you say?
Yes.
Okay, what is pride as a sin? Is that the same as being proud of yourself?
Pride as a sin is when you take pride too far. You are supposed to have a degree of pride to care about yourself and other people. But to let pride overcome your common sense or to take it to an extreme is when it becomes a sin or can cause your downfall. They always say pride cometh before a fall. Well, a small degree of pride, as long as it's tempered or balanced with humility, is actually a good thing. But if you take it to where your pride is more in control of your common sense or more in control of someone else, then pride is becoming a bad thing and is out of balance. It's having pride in yourself is not a sin, but to have so much pride that you belittle others or down them, saying that you're better than them, that kind of thing is when it becomes a sin. And that's what most people consider pride. But taking pride in yourself, your appearance, how you treat people, that's not a sin. That's actually something very mature and thoughtful.
Okay, I wanted to put Pudwacker's site in the chat, but I can't seem to get the link for it. But I'd also like to
Hi,
share with
Sandy.
you. I'd like to share with you that I have a free range Telegram channel as well, and I post a lot of stuff there that I can't post in other places or gets taken down in other places.
I'm already on there.
Okay. What was it? I was just going to bring up the fact that you were watching I stopped in at one of the shows that I did, and there was like 1,200 views. And when it was done and over, when you saw it, it was like 600 something. So they are definitely affecting my numbers, my views, my likes, any of that. So please, if you would, subscribe and like, because I need to get the algorithms working in my favor, and that's what has to happen. So please do that. It doesn't cost anything to do that. And I obviously don't charge anything. I do ask for help if you're able to do so, because it does cost money to do some of this. I might have to change my platform too because of that, but we'll see.
I'd like to
Somehow,
take a second and say something, if you don't mind, Gail.
sure.
I wanted to say that the reason I choose to come on your shows exclusively is because you're a real person. You like to interview real people and get an actual dialogue going on, not some programmed response from an expert. Air quotes. I actually want to show my appreciation, and if there's any way I could help. Unfortunately, I'm just a working Joe like everybody else. Unfortunately, I don't have much to spare. But if there was a way I could help you, I would. I
Well,
understand the tough times we go through.
Yeah, I appreciate that very much, and I don't expect anything from anyone unless they. There's a lot of people out there who can. Probably aren't in my group, but only, and I just say that because usually, your people that are the frequently anyway that are in, to use a phrase, light workers or what have you. A lot of times they, have been have many obstacles that have been put in their path
Oh yeah.
so that they can't become too powerful, too well known, or spread too much truth.
Well, I know for fact that when children are born into this world, at least since I came in, they've had a technology that they actually evaluate children when they're born and determine how the kid is going to be treated or labeled in society based on that kid's aura, because they can see it. They have technology to actually see the child in every hospital, in every doctor's office. It's made into the current technology, but they don't want you to know it has that feature. They do target people like us who come in with an aura full of energy or an old soul, and they make our life hard to keep us asleep, to keep us in debt and worried, so that we don't have time to step into our power and do what we're here to actually do. So it is an uphill battle for a light worker and for anyone who steps into their power, at least at this moment. But when the flash happens, that goes away, and we get to truly stand in our power beyond anything you would currently be able to imagine. But it is an uphill battle getting there. I think you lost your sound, Gail.
My bad. I muted myself for a minute. They also say that we have star seeds here on the planet, and when this flash happens, they're going to, as we are, and correct me if I'm wrong or you've got something different on that. We will actually return to our original body.
The original body reference there is the body in which their soul projected from to come here as a starseed. First, let me clear it up. Everyone here is a starseed with no exception on the planet, because we all, one, our physicality is made from star stuff, as they tell us. Two, your soul is created from beyond the stars. It's been doing things long before it came here, and it will continue to do so after it leaves. The soul is eternal, and that's who you really are. But we're all technically star seeds. But when they reference star seeds, what they're actually referencing is the more recent ones who chose to come in to help specifically with the shift. Those are the ones, and very few of them will just automatically go back where they came from, because those ones are projected here into a human body, like a walk-in. They're not actually physically here. They're just in a body that is. 80 to 90% of starseeds who came in that they reference actually came in and were born into this body. So when they have to leave this reality first, they will have that option when the flash happens.
Well, they've been saying that we keep our body.
With their life. We do.
Those
of us who make the shift, we do. Those who don't, just incarnate somewhere else, or they'll continue in 3D till that finishes out. And when that does, then they'll incarnate somewhere else, because Earth after the flash will no longer hold a 3D experience. It may not even hold a 4D experience after a while. It's said to be the minimal that Gaia wants to hold after the shift is going to be 5D. That's why everyone talks about the new Earth and the 5D Earth. The new Earth is right here being born around us, and it'll come into full fruition as we move down the path for those of us who are walking that path to that place. You don't get on a plane, you don't just instantly teleport. You're literally walking there as you walk through your life. As your vibe raises, you're slowly walking into that reality. When the flash happens, if you're partway down the path, you just get skipped all the way up. For those who are asleep, It's not forced upon them. They'll just go through another cataclysm and start over another 3D life somewhere else,
Hmm.
like we did in the past.
Right, right. So it's likely, not necessarily positively, but it's likely that some that haven't aren't ready, maybe very young souls. Is that true?
It's hard to say. I'll have to look into that one.
Okay. Well, the only, as I would see that, is the younger the soul is, the fewer experiences they've had to evolve the soul.
Well,
Maybe
it
that's
is
the
true
reason.
that the old souls are the ones who are getting the option first because we've already completed 3D. There are many younger souls. Well, I'm not going to say many. It's like 1 out of 100,000 are brand new souls to the Earth experience. And those
Oh,
souls
wow.
are going to continue the 3D experience unless their soul path is to ascend and just ride it up into the new level as the new game starts.
Okay.
There are some souls who chose that. But 80 to 90% of the actual souls on the planet are old souls, been here a long time.
So, do you think some of the that, like Teresa's saying here, I get many NPCs will be replaced by star seeds and galactics?
For a
And
time, yes, they're going to come in and help out, and not all galactics are something that most humanity could handle. You know, if you see this giant squid guy walking up to you trying to explain to you how to do something, you're not going to know what to do. But if you see someone who looks more like you, you'll be more open to the receptive. So, in some cases, beings that are not of a human format would come in like a walk-in into those NPCs for a time to help with what their part of the mission is, because
well,
there's going to be a whole lot of re-education going on.
oh, okay. So not only might they be here for raising the vibration, but also for education.
Oh yeah, when the shift happens, there's a great many already and waiting, and I can see their ships in the sky. Their cloaks don't work beyond me. They look like clouds
Well,
mostly,
what
but
I
they're
probably should be
waiting.
getting going here, but this is getting so interesting. I wanted to ask you too, one last question about, they say, talk about the an alien and a fake alien invasion being presented to wake people up, and there'll actually be a, shall we call it, a light show in the skies that's going to really shake people up, I'm sure. Do you know
I
anything
heard
about that?
rumor. I heard rumor when I was in the military back in the 90s that they were planning Operation Bluebeam, which was an alien invasion through projection, with other alternatives such as having a deity projected in the sky.
Mhm.
Those were methods they were discussing to use, but they were only being discussed by the dark. The light wouldn't want such trickery to be used when spreading the truth. They don't want to get shot at when they come down. In an invasion, the military is going to attack. It's going to be a war type invasion. So,
Hmm.
if it does happen, my advice is to, because it is possible and they do have the technology, but if it were to happen, feel into it to feel if it's real. Because the real light forces, if they came in, they're not going to be shooting or attacking at the public. If they attack at all, it's only in defense.
Well, I heard there was actually the good guys, I mean, benevolent beings that are actually carrying it out for the
Uh,
purpose of waking people up. It's not
that,
anything negative, supposedly, from what I heard or
from my
read.
understanding, that's something that the Dark was planning to use to try to control the narrative. If the Galactus tried to come down and help us, that's why
Mm.
they're waiting till the shift. Otherwise, they would have already come down. Several have and been shot at by the militaries around the world.
Yeah, the Project Bluebeam. Yeah,
But they're
I
still
know that
trying
was
to
the
do
bad
that
guys,
as a
but
control measure, from my understanding. I haven't been preview to
I wonder
anything
if they've
beyond.
had enough of their funds taken from them to prevent some of these things that they thought they were going to be able to do.
Well, the funds don't stop them if they run into the facility and turn the machine on themselves. And some of the dark underlings would absolutely do that regardless of how much money they're getting. They'd be promised
God.
money, but no guarantee they'd get it. Thing about working with the dark, you can guarantee you'll get stabbed in the back somewhere. You're in the dark. That's what they do. That's like saying you're going to carry a snake and beg it not to bite you when that's in its nature.
Yeah, there's a story about a lady that took a snake that was hurt home and blah blah blah, and nursed it back to health. And make a long story short, it ended up biting her, and she asked, "How could you bite me? I did this, you know." And it's yeah.
Yeah.
In other words, moral of the story: don't trust a snake.
But when you play with fire, you can expect to get burned. If you choose the dark path, which that's your free will, you can expect to take as much as you're going to get. If not from someone else, from those above you.
Okay. Well, it gets to be a problem to download and upload and so on and so forth. So we're going to have to call it a wrap.
All right.
If you have any final words for the audience, and
trust your discernment, don't be scared, and stand in your power.
All right, everyone, you know the drill. Stand in your power, stand in your light, shine your light, be a beacon of light, and be kind, grateful, and compassionate. That's what 5D is all about. So have a great rest of your day, evening, or afternoon, whatever it is, and we'll see you again soon. Love you all. Thank you.
Much love, everyone.
We have found our way. It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are, and like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and dreamers. We are restless believers. Stronger than ever, never say never. Don't look back now, don't look back now. Stand with each other. We are sisters and brothers, fighting our place and running the race. We'll take our chance and seize the moment. Hold on tight and don't let go of all your hopes and dreams that light the way. We control our fate. Destiny awaits. We are all the actors in the stories we create. Hope will be our guide. We'll no longer hide. When we roll like thunder, feel the wonder from inside. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and dreamers. We are restless believers. Stronger than ever, never say never. Don't look back now, don't look back now.
Okay, let me do this ringing for the children. That's what started all of this. We must take care of our children. It's all about the children. We won't have a future. We won't have a world. We won't have a race if we don't take care of the children. And the things that have been happening to them are absolutely horrific. So get behind this and know that that's why I decided to do this last night. So to all the children out there, we love you and we're fighting for you right now as we speak. So thank you, everyone. I just wanted to add that little tidbit. We'll see you again soon. Love you.